Hi, cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Nayasim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. I have done this video more than how many times, and I am trying to be as calm as I can. Now, one of the best things that happened to me and black people this year is the fact that they are seeing everything out. They are on vacation. I love that. And please continue to enjoy your life, Now, a Cuban is actually, why is it that people are saying that this administration, like Mr. Orange Man, is racist? Now, my people, I want to take you back to something. These are the people that wanted you to go out there and put your bodies out there for their sake, because they are what? I don't know, but I will just keep short. Now, let me tell you something. If a full-grown man can come out, some people are very shameless, and this particular one is not exempted. This is one of them. Very shameless to ask us, why are people saying that this man is racist? Man, I am going to ask you, does it mean that you do not have one abuela or something that has already been deported, or that is somewhere in ICE detention? You probably will have somebody. Go and ask them if the administration is racist or not. Enough of coming out on the internet to ask some silly questions. You know where to ask the question and stop being silly. See, I love my people, and I will not stop saying it. The fact that you all are chilling, one of the best, like, I am so proud, and I will never stop being proud. Continue to get all the rest. Let them continue to run around and ask, is this administration racist, when all of them are being deported? Let's get into this video.
Yo, the one argument that I will not listen to about Donald Trump, he might be a lot of things, guys. Like, I don't agree with everything he's ever done or everything he's ever said, but there's one thing that I hear more than any other argument that it's just not true. How is he a racist? Like, somebody explain to me in the comments, what has Donald Trump done directly that will make him a racist? I mean, I'm just genuinely asking, right? I've never seen nothing that the man has done that would give me those types of indicators, but apparently there's millions of people that have seen it. So if you're one of them people that believe that Donald Trump is a racist, drop down in the comments a specific example or a link to some sort of evidence of this man being a racist. I challenge you to do that. Thank y'all. True. How is he a racist? Like, somebody explain to me.
No, you can look it up yourself. You can look these things up. You don't want to believe that he's racist because you want to support him, but you don't want that icky feeling of, oh my God, he doesn't like black folk or brown folk or gay folk or what have you. And you expect people on the internet to do a job your punk ass refuses to do. So no, we're not going to give you an example or explain it to you. Fuck you. You do the goddamn job yourself, because we're tired. We're fucking tired. Okay? I wish you would just say, I will support him even if I find out he's a raging fucking racist. I would respect you a hell of a lot more, and it can save us the fucking back and forth. Just say that part. There's too many fucking examples. And why in the fuck should I give them to you when your ass is using a phone with a computer in it to make this dumbass statement or ask this dumbass question? No, I'm sorry, we're not doing the work for you anymore. We're not. Donald Trump's a racist. It's imperative on you to prove he's not for me to prove that he is. The man's 79 fucking years old, and he's made more statements about race than a motherfucker. But because y'all dumb poor asses want to support him, you want to ignore all that, and you expect somebody to do your homework for you so you can get a grade of an A. Fuck you. No, do it yourself. We're done. We're finished. We're through. If you want to support that motherfucker, fine. Who really gives a shit at this point? His cult will cult until he cracks up and goes off yonder, and in which case y'all will be walking around biting fucking telephone poles. We do not care at this point. But no, we are not about to sit here and do the motherfucking work for you. You don't believe Donald Trump's racist. Why don't you go find some proof that he isn't? And when you find out that there's no fucking way in hell you can see the actions of this motherfucker for the past 79 fucking years and not think, oh wow, this motherfucker's a racist piece of shit, then maybe you'll shut the fuck up, or maybe you'll make a video saying, hey, I was wrong, he is racist. Or you probably won't, because you want to support him so desperately, as if he gives a fuck. Do the fucking research yourself. Do it yourself. Grown-ass people asking stupid-ass questions on the fucking internet is boring, old, tired, and nobody wants to hear it anymore. You want to find out whether or not Donald Trump's racist, do the motherfucking research for your goddamn self. Otherwise, just say you want to suck him off and hold his balls, and you don't want to hold him accountable for shit. Could you please do that part, please?
Well, I'm pretty sure we've all seen videos of ICE mistreating and actually beating civilians, people who are not armed. I'm sorry, a guy doing the lawn, running with a weed whacker away, that's right, away, not towards the police, is not attacking you. He's trying to run away because he's scared. And you know what? By what happened with ICE, he should have been scared. He got beat. He's the father of 3 Marines, and he got beat. We saw the student who was here legally until the State Department took away her right to be here and was never notified that her visa had been revoked, taken away by unmarked cars, unmarked people with masks on that looked more like they were kidnapping her than arresting her. This is just out of control. What ICE is doing is out of control. We saw a mother and wife of 32 years from Iran who was here legally, who was allowed to stay in the country, who had been going to immigration as required all the time to check in, just taken from her front yard while she's picking dates with the neighbor kids. This is wrong. And you know, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and all the people in charge of ICE are trying to say they're going after criminals. Criminals. Well, you know what? If they were actually going after criminals and not regular people, more of us would be like, you know, that's what we do in this country. We try to make our streets safer by getting criminals off the street. But the father doing the lawn, working, is not a danger. The mother in her front yard picking dates, who is an active person in her own community, is definitely not a danger. And the student who wrote an op-ed piece is not a danger to this country. We need to be able to tell the difference between what's right and what's wrong, who's safe and who's dangerous. And Donald Trump has enabled the ICE police people, thugs, to attack people in the streets without any type of fear of retribution from the federal government. That's right. We know for a fact that Pam Bondi and the Justice Department will never investigate a complaint against ICE for taking people's unconstitutional rights and abusing them. They will never look into that. They will only look into people who oppose Trump. They are the Trump Justice Department, period. And we can see that by cases they have dropped against the mayor of New York when he agreed to help them with their immigration plans. So don't think we can see that in their firing of prosecutors who actually prosecuted people who committed crimes on 1/6, and they're being fired for their actions now. We have an unjust Justice Department. We have an illegal administration who talks about illegal immigrants. Screw them. Stand up for people. People shouldn't be beaten in the streets. People shouldn't be grabbed from their front yards by unmarked cars. No, none of this is right. None of this is American. We need to be better than this. And we were better than this before Donald Trump took the oath of office, which he violates every day of his life. And we need to demand better of our elected officials. Congress, I ask you, where are you? Yes, I hear the Democrats. Unfortunately, they're not the majority party. And Republicans refuse to join in, any of them, against what's happening in this country. The Supreme Court is hand in hand with Donald Trump. What's happening here is terrible for immigrants, undocumented people, and people who were documented until they suddenly lost their documentation because of Donald Trump, who decided to end protective status for 100,000 people in this country. So don't fool yourself. This isn't a question of illegal and legal. This is really a question of black and white, because Donald Trump welcomes in supposed people from South Africa who are being abused when there's no proof of that, and kicks out people from Haiti who are really in danger when they go back to their country. This is not a question of right and wrong. It should be, but for Donald Trump, it's always white and black.
Well, about 4 months into Trump's presidency, and we got all kinds of chaos brewing. Trump's America, riots in the street, protests in the street, having to call the National Guard. Does that sound familiar? Like the last time he was president? And it's barely started, folks, and it's only going to get worse. Trump's America, nothing but bigotry, hate, division. And these people, Trump supporters always try to say, well, what about Obama? What about Obama? I don't remember any of this chaos going around against ICE during Obama's administration, because his deportations were much different than the sewer rat pigs. Just admit it, Trump supporters. You're just racist ass scum. About 80% of you are just racist ass scum pigs. But most of you too damn coward to show that in front of somebody's face. So you do it behind their back. But then you go smile. You go eat in those Mexican restaurants and go smile and pretend. But deep down, you really are racist scum pigs. Now I'm for deporting criminals. 100%. I'm for a secure border. But attacking families who have been here forever, who are doing nothing but working and contributing to this country, building houses, building everything in this country that we have as Americans, putting fruit and food on our table by doing jobs most Americans will not do. But yet you people cheer to see these same people hurt. Because why? Because you're racist scum pigs. Ain't no other way around it. Racist scum pigs.
I was having this conversation with a couple of different friends I have, and also just like some of my really close friends have all like left the United States. So it's like crazy, and just went to all different countries around the world because they just don't want to live under the Trump administration. And I've had maybe like 3 or 4 different conversations over the last week with different friends about like what's happening in America and how like everyone like feels embarrassed to be American, embarrassed to associate with American identity, because like this MAGA cult is now like the ideology of like America, like what people think Americans are. But like none of us are like for that, right? And we were like talking about how when you look at like Christianity and religion, like Jesus Christ was a Palestinian Jew who was a refugee, who said, feed the poor, help the homeless, help thy neighbor, and like be a good human being or whatever. And at the same time, like if you think about where he would be today, and he was always about taxing the rich, he would be a socialist. Like he would essentially be a democratic socialist. He would be a Bernie Sanders, and he would vote for Bernie Sanders. So when you look at evangelical Christianity, it got co-opted by white supremacists, right? Like essentially, like the modern day version of the KKK is what MAGA really is. And they sit there and they contort what Christianity is and make up a bunch of things that are just not true. Like, for instance, they'll say that like Israel's entitled to Palestine, but like Israel wasn't even created until, what, 1947? And then immediately started committing genocide that's been going on for 70 years. But like prior to that, like for instance, Jesus, who's a Palestinian Jew, right? Born in Bethlehem, but also like went to Jerusalem in his life. Like, where is Jerusalem, right? Palestine, but that became Israel because the Rothschilds, right, worked on the Balfour Declaration and lobbied the UN to create the state for them to profit and like have money and oil inside the Middle East and use this country to fight wars so they can get more money in their central bank so they can control the oil resources to make money around the world. So anyway, what I'm saying is when you actually analyze like the history and then look at it in the context of like actual religion to the context of white supremacy, it just becomes obvious that like the MAGA cult is just brainwashing of people to support white supremacy. And also when you're talking about like Christianity, religion, and Jesus Christ, he was supposed to be like a symbol of love, right? And power and like this symbol of like goodness. And you look at like the MAGA cult and they're like, deport immigrants who are refugees, when like that's what Jesus Christ was and like said to accept refugees. Or like if you say tax the rich, they'll be like, no, tax the poor, take away their benefits and entitlements, where like Jesus would be like, help the poor. So what I'm saying is like none of their ideologies even make sense about how the Bible actually reads, how Christianity functions, and Christianity comes from Palestine, comes from Jesus Christ, where he was born and raised, and then a genocide is going against his own people and his own descendants, and like these people don't care. So anyway, I was talking to my friends about just how hypocritical everything is inside of the MAGA movement, because they are a hate cult. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody who's indoctrinated into the Republican Party at this point who supports MAGA is 100% indoctrinated into a hate cult that is based on white supremacist ideology. They hate women, they hate minorities, they hate immigrants, they hate anyone who's a non-white male Christian. Like they hate liberals, they hate anybody who is not the us versus them, right? Like they have to be MAGA like them and support white supremacy and like support the billionaire class at the expense of the 99%, or like you're evil, right? And it's like the most insane thing, because when you think about it, you're like, do you honestly in your heart of heart think that like Jesus would support a rapist, a misogynist, a sexist, a neo-fascist? Like, no. So to sit there and like see their justifications for what they think and believe, it's just pure, it's asinine. It doesn't even make sense.
I don't know if you have any MAGA people in your actual life. I do. They don't believe that this big, beautiful bill is cutting anything for actual Americans. They think the $900 billion in Medicaid is taking illegal immigrants off our healthcare system. That is how misinformed they are. They do not believe the fact, and this is a fact. This is actually a fact. This is not hyperbole. This is not a what if. This is, we know for a fact. When these cuts go through, 17 million Americans, mainly elderly, are losing their Medicaid, are losing their health benefits. Those with cancer, those with diabetes will no longer get their medication, and they will die very, very, very fast. I just don't understand how we've gotten here, how MAGA could be so misinformed. But still, I don't know if you have any MAGA in your life. They're so blind, and they believe themselves. They're just their echo chamber. They believe everything they say.
Right at this very moment, you are witnessing Trump's control of the Republican Party, his agenda, and his relevancy fade in real time. Now let me walk you through the evidence, because it's all right here in this fight over his big bloated abomination. What's left of it anyway? We'll go through what's been removed in just a minute. But first, let's be really clear. Just like when these tax cuts originally passed in 2017, the president's first real bill after being elected should be his easiest and best, because new presidents do come into office with momentum. And the bar could not be lower, because this isn't even a policy bill, it's budget reconciliation. reconciliation. They don't even have to deal with the filibuster or get bipartisan support because all they need is a majority in the House and the Senate. And they have a majority in the House and the Senate. But this bill, which at its core is really nothing more than an extension of those 2017 tax cuts, which gave us $1.5 trillion in new debt by shifting the entire cost of government off of the wealthy and onto the middle class, and that did nothing to grow the economy. This bill has been ground to a pulp, all in hopes of getting to a final vote, which is still uncertain. Now, this would be easy if Trump had any influence left, because he has never cared about debt. All he really wants is to see these tax cuts be made permanent. But Republicans are already becoming immune to Trump's threats because they know he's not going to be on the ballot in 2026. And this is where the conflict comes in, because there are still a handful of old-school, fiscally conservative Republicans in Congress. Now, these people, they do want to cut taxes, but they're also demanding if we're going to reduce revenue, we also have to reduce spending. And because Republicans will never look at the most obvious area for spending cuts, which is the military, they've forced themselves into a corner, looking to cut $1 trillion from Medicaid, forcing some of the food stamp budget onto the poorest states, even trying to sell off millions of acres of pristine national forests, all three of which are dreadfully unpopular. And this has forced Republicans who actually care about their constituents and actually care about our public land into a conflict with the Republicans who only care about the budget. And in this conflict, they already had to remove the provision to sell public lands, they had to remove the provision that would have protected Trump appointees from contempt charges when they ignore judges, and they also had to remove a bunch of provisions they added as favors to Senator Murkowski from Alaska that were designed for no other reason but to protect her state from the Medicaid cuts. In this battle between budget people and policy people has left one person out in the cold, Donald Trump, because he still believes that he can just threaten anyone and get what he wants. And there was a day when he could simply demand loyalty and get the votes he needs. What we're seeing here is that group of dead-eyed MAGA zealots who just do what Trump says is shrinking by the day. And his threats against the rest of them are falling on deaf ears, because every single one of the 250 Republicans who are up for re-election in 2026, they all know that in just 16 short months, the first big decision that stands between them and the unemployment line is how they vote on this bill. And when that judgment day comes, it will not be Donald Trump holding them accountable. It will be the American people.
So they're really going to make the Haitians leave now. The people they fucking lied about. The people they made their children cry. Admitted to making stories up about them. Now they got to go. I've never in my life been more ashamed of the people of my skin color. When I go anywhere and I have to go somewhere, if I'm waiting on my food to come out at a restaurant to go order or whatever, I seek brown people. I seek them out, and I'd rather sit next to them. I've never been more ashamed. Like it's just so easily they can take the human element out. But even when you do that, who's going to pick up their car loans? Like, what are we going to do with their cars? What are we going to do with the homes they've rented or bought? Or what are we doing? Like, what happens? Taxpayer? Like, what? None of it's going to be good, whichever direction is picked. But as long as the scary brown people get out, you are happy. You are pathetic fucking human beings, man. And the fact that so many of you fucking cling to that Bible, it's sickening. It's so goddamn sickening. Hell is definitely empty because it's waiting on so many fucking people to get there. That's all I got to say.
This is all I got from this video. I hope all this video that I compiled is good enough. Maybe not good enough, because what this man has done so far, it's I can't believe that someone in the office for just 6 months. 6 months is this, but it is what it is. Now let me start with, it's really very silly, kind of, to see maybe a Latino, because the guy that asked the question is actually not white, right? Coming out to ask What has he done that made you people call him rich deceased? Like, he needs to know. Man, you are really, really moving wide. On a serious note, you are moving wild. And it looks like he is looking for subscribers. And the best way, some people think the best way to come on the social media to get subscribers or following are just through supporting this man, because there are thousands or millions of white people that support him. Right? So to him, let me come out here and try my luck, because from what I saw, and then he wrote on his profile, take me to 10K, and let's start it from there. He is looking for subscribers, I feel. So the best way is to come out to ask his family question, like, how is he ready to assist? Is it not your family members that they are? Are you not seeing your abuela? All of them are being deported. You are still asking me. You want it to come out from my mouth. No, it ain't coming out from my mouth. It's not coming out from my mouth. On a serious note. Yeah. I am sure you all, I don't know what is going to happen, but it's really going to be a very tough one real soon. Because you all are seeing the things that are being cut. The big, beautiful bill. All of it. The fact that I just do not understand how somebody would just not like himself so much, because I feel like this administration are so hateful. Like, they do not like themselves. They do not like people. Like, how can you not like people? How can you not, like, what is wrong with you? Now, I don't know, but the whole thing is just crazy. On a serious note, people are actually going to suffer. Elderly people are good, because people will not get they will not get they will not have access to health care. That is another one. And when people stop having access to health care, what happens? They start dying. So what is their plan for people? A whole lot is going on in the world, sincerely speaking. And sometimes I sit down to analyze and I am confused. What is happening? Like, everything is happening at once. And the fact that somebody is also helping feel what is going on. There is what we call man-made, and there is what we call maybe like natural disaster. If all these things are natural disaster, I can manage and say, oh, it's a natural disaster. We didn't know if that it was going to happen or it's not going to happen. You can, but this one is not natural disaster. This is somebody help, like, not even helping, like, making life really harder for people. So what more again? Sometimes I sit down and I am like, what happened to humanity? Because it looks like humanity is all gone. Nobody cares about anybody. Nobody wants to, help anybody anymore. Genuinely. It's kind of crazy. People are going to say bad thing happening. They will not talk. And I don't know, maybe I am kind of stressed out, but I don't think at this point I am stressed out. I am all relaxed talking about it, but looking at everything happening at once, it is really bad. It is pretty bad. So for anybody saying that this man is not rich, you don't know where you are. You are actually lost. Now let me tell you the worst thing that will happen to human beings. Like, the worst thing is that seeing a fellow human being, knowing who should know what is good, what is right from what is wrong, right? Seeing what is wrong and saying what is wrong is right. And then helping to, because at this point in time, a lot of people will be unalive. And I don't know if you all are seeing videos of, how many, there are so many videos all out there. You will see this person unalive on the tree, things like that. This one is missing, this one is that. Like, what is happening? People that are put in ICE, tell me how ICE detention will detain somebody and allow you not to get access to your Medicare or health, this thing, or maybe you are on drugs and they will not let you have access to your drugs. This is unconstitutional, you know? It is not right. Breaking people's bones just to detain them, not having bed, packing people like 10 to 20 in a room, sleeping, all these things are not okay. I am saying, yes, I have to say it, but they are not okay. And if you are supporting, all these things are inhuman, like treating people that like they are not human beings. And every human beings have all the rights to have access to all that. If you are going to detain people, detain them rightly and give them what they are supposed to have till you are able to extradite, deport them to wherever they are headed back to. I mean, I am kind of tired. And this man added to my tiredness, coming out to say that I don't see anything wrong in the things he's doing. Triple K members. Bye for now.